Do you identify as an introvert and feel like you're struggling to make it in entrepreneurship in an extroverted world? Stick around for this episode because we've got some hot tips for you. Hey, we're Brit and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we've found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. Okay, so one of our elevators reached out with this really great question. And she asked, how do I make it in business in an extroverted world? And I'm totally an introvert. I read that to Chris and he was like, boom, let's put it on a podcast.
You know, forever ago, being an introvert was tough. I mean, if you were going to be successful, it was going to be hard because for the most part, you weren't going to get out there. And so unless you're just have an expert technique, like you're some sort of a surgeon or you're just one of the best writers, you can create amazing music. It was hard because in today's world, a lot of times it's the extrovert that everybody sees. With the advent of social media, it seems like we're always living in this world where people who are people have it easier and have it better. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think that that's just a facade. I think that, as a matter of fact, the introvert has never had it better than right now.
I could agree because when I was thinking about this question, like how would I answer that? I was thinking actually today in this world, there's like online shopping, there's order food from apps kind of thing. Like you don't even have to go out into the world as an introvert. You can literally live your entire life from operating like in business on a phone. And so my thought is like, well, what if you don't go into business that involves this extroverted experience? What if you cater to people just like you who are introverted and want to make a difference but don't necessarily want to go out and make all the connections or put themselves out there? So I was thinking like, how do we reverse engineer and think what are some of the problems that you've come up against and like how can we solve that in business to help people of our kind?
Yeah,
know?
That's definitely one thing that you can do. The other thing you can do is you can realize that, hey, this is the case for me. Like it's the sort of menial conversations, the casual small talk is tough and I don't enjoy it and I feel drained when I'm around people. Well, what you have to do is realize that...
Go hire a Leo.
Oh my gosh.
Go hire a Leo to do all your conversations.
So that's another good thing. Get somebody on your team that is great at this stuff. This is why companies hire salespeople. You don't have to be everything to everybody. And you have to remember that in business. If you have a skill where you really shine, maybe you're great as the person who comes up with the ideas. Maybe you're great at implementation. Maybe you're an organizer. Whatever strength that is, like focus on that. But at the same time, you want to be able to borrow other people's skills. Like for me, I'm more of an introverted person. I enjoy a lot more
Are
being...
you borrowing all my extroverted skills?
I like being alone, but I'll tell you what I've learned is there are a few techniques that you can really do as an introvert to shorten or to minimize how you feel when you get into a people situation. And that is to be able to know how to control conversations and to be able to end conversations when you no longer need to be in them. Being able to get away, being able to say,
should I share my,
oh my
share my
gosh,
secret?
Brit has this excellent secret and she uses it and it works very well.
If I use it on you or you know I've used it on you in the past and now you know my secret, I'm sorry. But not really. Now you know. You were boring. So if I'm in a conversation in public that I just want to get out of, it is always, oh, thank you so much for sharing. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I have to go to the bathroom. No one's going to fucking stop you. No, wait, just can you please pee on yourself and so I can keep talking to you? Like, you're going to be excused automatically. So for people pleasers, it's a great one to just get out of there.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to give you a big secret. This is my secret. This is the one that I use the most, and it's extremely, extremely effective. Not only that, but people will like you more because you use it. Ready for this? When you're in conversation with people, ready? Ask them questions. Guess what happens when you ask them questions? You have to pay attention to them. They feel like you're listening. They feel like you're interested. They feel like what they're saying is interesting. Everybody likes that. because everybody likes being able to feel like, hey, look at, I was showing off today. I knew all this information about these things. You just ask them about it. If they've been on vacation, you hear them talking about vacation, be like, hey, how'd you get there? What airline did you take? What'd you go do when you were there? Did you have any good food? I mean, it's very simple to be able to really get people to like you if you'll just take an interest in whatever in the world it is that they're doing. So you can get through a lot of conversations that way. For the ones you can't ask questions where you have to be delivering it, practice. Most of the conversations that you'll have in everyday life are practice conversations that you could have thought of beforehand. People are going to ask you the same stuff. What do you do? Where do you live? Maybe where'd you go to school? It's going to be some of the same questions. But get that into your mind about how would you answer them? What would be a good response? What's something? And then go try it. Go try it out and then figure out what did people respond to and say, all right, that didn't work. We're going to scrap that and do it as an experiment. Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you can't shine in social situations. If I get out there and need to speak, it's going to happen. Like that speech is going to be powerful. You can be like, damn, these people were changed. Something's going to come out. And so I let myself do that, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the time alone the same. So pick up on the skills. If people are around you and they have a really good sales skill, or they're amazing conversationalists, watch what they do. How are they interacting with the person? How do they approach it? What are they thinking right before they approach? You have to know these things as an introvert so that when you go in, you're just not bamboozled. But get the skill. Like, don't just sit and be like, well, I'm not good at that, so I'm not going to do it. It's not enough anymore. Like, the people who are on an even playing field with you, the same introverts like you are, the one that's getting those extra skills has a huge advantage because they can go meet people. They can mingle for a bit. You just don't do it all the time. Don't wear yourself out.
I know. I'm sitting here like just trying to rack my brain of like, what is the message that I want to share? Like how can I support this conversation? And all I keep staring at is the word introvert and like, how can I make it? And what I'm picking up between the lines is it's just another label you've given yourself out of fear. You know, like, because you can be an introvert and learn those skills. You can still have conversations but not want to be around them. Like, so I think it's just like a layer or a level of fear between with the label that they've chosen for themselves. Because I think to some degree we're all introverted and extroverted. Like, we're a combination of the two, and maybe you've just like focused on the fact that this like one portion of you in this one area is introverted, and that makes you feel like all the rest is just like you know, then if I feel this way about this thing, then that must mean I'm that for everything.
Yeah, so what you want to do is either hire the stuff out that you don't enjoy doing
100%,
or you want to figure out someone else's system to use. So if you don't like posting on social media, that's great because you can't come up with the captions, you don't know what the stuff is. Good. Get someone's system on how they do it so that when you sit down, you have a game plan about how people who are successful are able to do it. So you either need to go hire out the skill or you need to get a game plan or blueprint on what you need to do to be able to do it very well, very efficient, so you're not spending a lot of time. So you can still take that time off that, you enjoy so much. Okay, another thing that I just thought of that is incredible to do, and this is actually something that I did in high school because I went to an all-guys private school, and I would tell you that when you do that, a lot of guys there aren't good with girls because they don't see them very often unless they're their mom or their sister, and that's a different interaction you're having than if you're trying to date somebody. And so I figured out back then that for most guys, people came to me and said, like, hey, how do you talk to people? How do you date? How does this work?
Because you were the Rico Suave.
I became that guy.
Tell him what your yearbook said. You were most likely to do what? What was your career path?
I was most likely to be an artsy film director.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the guys came to me and said, how do you do this? And when I figured out, I came up with this challenge back then. And it was a rejection challenge because what I found out is that most people feared rejection so much that it limited them from doing anything in social situations. And so what we had them do is go try and be rejected on purpose. And once you become immune to that, there's TED Talks on it now. There's all sorts of stuff on rejection. But this is something that I came up back because I figured out that like it was just the idea of being rejected that bothered them. They didn't actually care that much about the rejection in person because I went with them in person and watched them get rejected, and they're like, I don't care about that. I was like, wait, so what was such a big deal before? It was that fear that they were going to get rejected. It was the fear that kept holding them back. It was the fear that stopped them from being able to just go up to anybody. And it has to matter, like, not what they look like, not what their social status is, not how beautiful they are, like nothing. Like, none of those things can matter. Rejection is the same. we always put extra emphasis and extra meaning on it. So try it. I had them do it for 21 days. So for 21 days, they were supposed to go out, and we've had people do this in our Elevated Life Club.
I was just thinking, when we did the Overcoming Criticism Masterclass, we always do a 21-day challenge, and that's exactly what this was. Go out there and get told no, like get turned down, get denied. And what was interesting is that more oftentimes they got what they were asking for, if not more, because they have the courage to even put themselves out there.
Yeah, confidence and courage is very sexy. It's a very sexy attribute, and you come up with different ways. And once you are immune to criticism, the amount of things that you can do,
you're free.
Because people can't hurt you anymore. It's very difficult to hurt somebody who doesn't care what other people think, who can go up there and just immediately be told no and have nothing happen internally. They don't go home and think about it all night and sleep bad for a week. They're not telling their friends about it. It's like, who cares whatsoever. And so people who can take rejection like that, it's very powerful. So if you're an introvert, it's not an easy challenge. That's why it's a challenge. Like it is a challenge. This is tough to do. Go out there and get rejected. Go out, ask for stuff. Ask for stuff that you should never be able to get. Go into the Ferrari dealership and ask them for a free car. Like go to Starbucks and ask them for free food. Go ask if you can get on the microphone at the airport and talk for a little bit. Maybe don't do that one. All right, maybe that's not the one you want to do.
We don't want to fuck with the airlines right now.
But seriously, just go out and do strange things that get you out of your comfort zone so that it's not a big deal to ask. Whenever I got into real estate, this helped me so much. So I did the challenge, right? Approaching people doesn't bother me. It did for a long time. I was much more shy. It was weird for me to talk. I'd have to like build a conversation in my head first. I mean, it was a whole thought process, which ruins everything.
You probably had like templated scripts and all the things.
So when I was in real estate,
if they say hello, I need to say, how are you?
It works. Listen, it works.
I love you.
So when I was in real estate, I worked on foreclosures because I knew that all those people would be motivated to sell their house, or at least motivated to make some kind of a change. And so I would get this list from the county clerk, and it would be about 2,000 houses in the counties that I'm around they were going on foreclosure. So I would drive to all their houses and knock on the door. And let me tell you what it's like. I would go to about 100 houses a day, and I would go up there and knock to talk to them about a problem with their property. I mean, these are not people who are excited about seeing me. And what I knew is that if I knocked on 2,000 doors, I'm going to get 5 to 10 deals, even if I stumble my way through it. And so by doing that challenge and being really immune to criticism, it allowed me to be able to approach people in a different way. I wasn't fearful. It wasn't strange for me. I walked up saying like, hey, I've got a solution. If you need this solution, I've got it for you. And that's the approach to be able to take as the introvert. If you're ever speaking to somebody, if you're offering your business services to somebody, the thing not to think about is what you're doing inside. Well, do my shoes look good? Is my hair okay? Like all of that matters, but just a tiny bit. What really matters is what you're going to deliver to the person. So what you have to be thinking the whole time is, I have a solution to your problem, and I'm going to tell you about that because you need this, and you know that you need this. And so that is a totally different space to come from. Not, well, they're probably not going to buy it.
How am I going to make it?
My product's just not as good as, well, this other girl, she did it this way, and man, I can't do it like she can. No one cares about any of that crap. They care about what your product can do from them. Yeah. And you're approaching them like, hey, I can help you. Like the guy, if my car breaks down on the road and someone needs to jump my battery, the guy could come out in a reindeer outfit and I would not care one bit. I mean, if he spoke a totally different Klingon language, who cares? I need to do with the stuff to make my battery work so I can get on with my day. And that's who you are as a business. You are something that someone else needs. And so you have to get in front of them. It's not about you. Like, you're not selling you. You're selling what you're offering for solutions for people. Like, that's such a different kind of game that you're playing now. Because now you can go into every conversation and be like, how can I help? And that's all you really need to ask people. Like, how can I help you? What's your biggest frustration right now? What's tough in your life? Can I help you with that? Like, that is the kind of conversation that we need to have, because you're approaching everything from a different angle.
Do you think that people will take us serious if we show up in the Elevated Life Club live masterclass in deer outfits?
Yes. They better. They'll bamboozle them. We do have a unicorn head, a very good unicorn head.
You have busted that out at very appropriate times.
It's nice. It shocks people.
Bring in the thunder. Well, I think this wraps up, putting an answer to the question is, how do introverts make it in business? Figure out who you are, figure out your skills, hire out what you suck at, step outside your comfort zone and learn some new skills, and be honest. Be honest with yourself and double check. Am I throwing this label on me to hold me back from being successful or putting myself out there?
Yeah. What if you said, I enjoy time alone by myself. I enjoy that to recuperate. But at the same time, I'm a badass when it comes to talking to people. I am an absolute badass. And if you use my mantra, if you've never heard it before, I always say, people love me and they want to give me their money. Now imagine if you went into your next conversation for business and thought to yourself, people love me and they want to give me their money. It's a different stance. Try it out.
Ooh, I'm borrowing it. Oh, I love you so much. You're the best. Well, thank you so much for dropping us that question, Amanda. We really, really appreciate it. And if you are listening and thinking, I would just love to ask them this, please shoot us a DM. Let us know what your burning question is, and we will definitely answer it here on the podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.